Hello and welcome to our virtual Lunch and Learn. Today we're talking about Sytech XLReporter reporting software. My name is Rachel Green and I'm the Digital Communications Specialist here at McNaughton-McKay Electric Company. Presenting for us today is Steve Sperry, Systems Engineer out of our Madison Heights, Michigan location. Out in the comment section, ready to answer your questions today is Michael McCarty, Systems Engineer also out of Madison Heights. And we'll also have a Q&A portion at the end for Steve to answer your questions in more depth. We'll be getting started shortly, but we'd like to allow a few minutes for attendees to join us. As you come in, feel free to let us know where you're joining us from in the comments section. You can view recordings of previous virtual Lunch and Learns on our YouTube channel under the Virtual Lunch and Learn playlist. And we cover a new topic every Wednesday at noon, so be sure to join us on your lunch break. For anyone just coming in, welcome to our virtual Lunch and Learn Sytech XLReporter reporting software. Let us know where you're joining us from in the comments. Hi, Tom. Thanks for joining from Madison Heights. We'll be looking for your questions as you have them in the comments section while our presenter, Steve, talks about Sytech's XLReporter reporting software, which can connect to IoT data in real time from the plant floor. Hi, Michael. Thanks for joining. Our specialist, Michael McCarty, you see him there in the comments now, is ready to respond to your questions as we go along, and we'll have a Q&A segment at the end for Steve to go into those questions in more depth as well. Hi, Utsav, Chris, Stephen, thanks for joining. If you'd like to reach us afterward, or if you have further questions for Steve, you can send us an email at macandmaclive@mc-mc.com. Be sure to let us know which session you attended and we'll direct your questions to Steve. We'll have that email address in the screen at the end as well. And it looks like we have a number of attendees with us now. Hi, Scott, Carol, and Mark. Thanks for joining. Let's go ahead and get started. Steve, I'll pass it over to you.
Hi, thanks for joining us today, whatever time it may be while you're watching this. So as Rachel indicated, we're going to talk about software for reporting on data from IIoT sources or operational sources within your automation assets. So we had a session earlier this year that talked about the HMS Ewon as a IoT starter device for not only remote access, but also collecting information for things like OEE, KPIs, and the like. So what we're going to show today is how to utilize the XLReporter product for not only collecting data from the Ewon Flexy, but also real-time data, historical data from other data sources. So with that, we'll get started through the presentation. So again, Sytech is a company that gives you the ability to collect information and then report on that information. In terms of who is Sytech, they are headquartered out of Massachusetts in the United States. Started as a systems integrator and created a product that was missing in industry at the time back in 1995 with the Report Manager version 1. And then from there in 2000, XLReporter as a product became available. And from there, we've seen a significant increase in technology around being able to present information to teams. So giving report access to multiple team members, whether that be across the web through dashboards and reports, or from a local server in a on-prem situation. So in 2018, they added some direct hooks into the HMS Ewon hardware to allow us access to the tags that you can create in the Ewon that would represent data that may be in your, again, automation assets. And then in 2019, they came out with version 14 of XLReporter, which gave them the ability to create reports and use the template studio without adding the Windows Office or Microsoft Office suite. to get Excel. So that's a huge cost savings where customers had typically in the past, if they wanted to create reports or create templates, were required to install the Microsoft Excel product, and now that is no longer required. So they have distribution partners, much like McNaughton-McKay, who are available to help with product selection and even some application assistance as well. There's also many system integrators that are very familiar with the product, as well as original equipment manufacturers. So with that, again, Sytech, what they do is they have developed a reporting software that has the ability to communicate to many SCADA systems, process vendors, OPC UA, OPC DA as standards that they also would adhere to, which again opens up the products that they would be able to collect information from quite significantly. So what we're looking at is a product that affords us the ability to share reports and dashboards for industry. So think of a water, wastewater, maybe there's a turbidity report that is required that would have pertinence in, again, the water, wastewater industry, as they are a governed institute, right? EPA looks for reports from them, and this again would be a product that could give them significant value and reduce the engineering work required to provide those reports. So basically, if you know Excel, you can get your way through XLReporter. They have a fantastic staff that is available for support, and we often recommend purchasing versions of the product that would afford you not only support for the product, but also application support. So they'll help you build reports. So again, Sytech does a fantastic job. So what is reporting? Well, basically what we're looking at is visualization of information, or I should say visualization of data to make it more informative. So information is data that has been given context and formatting that makes it easy to consume. So what we're looking at, of course, is things like for water treatment, for example, there are templates that exist, and most municipalities can offer these templates. These templates could then in turn be introduced into XLReporter, and then live data or historical data could then be tied to the report and then scheduled to be delivered on some time base. More reports that are available, of course, would be in terms of wastewater treatment. Things like manufacturing. So maybe we're looking at whether it be alarm conditions or uptime circumstances, how long, how much, good, bad quality, those types of things for manufacturing. Also looking at things like energy management. So if we were to look over time at kilowatts per hour consumption, maybe we want to see some kind of report to indicate what change we may have seen based on production and or downtime. FDA reports for food and bev, things like, excuse me, operations that would have, again, more information regarding how a equipment or system is functioning and is it optimal. Overall equipment effectiveness, again, so a lot of these are dashboards and or reports that are pre-built, and then you just simply connect data to them. And then of course there's other features that are available in terms of scheduling and the like. More report types available would be in terms of alarm management, so giving us the ability to look at alarms in a more in-depth way. Batch management, so again, looking at different types of reports that are available. Batches are also going to be adhered to and embraced. Other types may be materials, so the list goes on and on. It is endless. So the background to XLReporter is, most, if not all, folks that work in industry have had some exposure to Microsoft Excel. Over 1 billion users, or 1 in 7 people, have some experience with Excel. Again, the regulatory templates are available on the internet from most municipalities and or governing bodies, EPA or other regulatory concerns. Again, as you can see here, looking at a Kentucky Energy and Environment website, more of those files, and as you can see, that is in an Excel format, so readily available for import into other resources to use. So again, having the ability to get access to different templates, if you will, and introducing those into XLReporter is natively empowered by the product. So for example, if you're looking for a different chart type, here shows an example of getting a Gantt chart add-on for Excel to get different visualization aspects of your data. So the objective of the XLReporter product is to, make a reporting tool that is familiar with people. So again, embracing the use of standard Microsoft Excel and the knowledge that comes along with that has given a lot of folks the ability to use this product very quickly and gain results. Now, as I'd indicated in version 14, you no longer need Microsoft Excel. It is a open Excel engine that is built into the product. So you can design workbook templates securely and safely within the system, and then produce reports in a workbook. So let's say that you need a daily report in a monthly book, then you would have the ability to automate the production of those reports as they are needed, whether it be daily, monthly, and or yearly, and would be in a workbook format, so all of the data would be in a single container. That can also be delivered as a PDF or via the web, and we'll show you some of those things here in a bit. And these can be scheduled to be distributed automatically. The other method, of course, would be on demand. So you'd connect to the reporting server, if you will, with a mobile device, tablet, or even a desktop through a web browser that would then allow you to gain access to those reports as well. So the intention here, of course, is to go beyond using Microsoft Excel and, doing custom programming to get you the outcomes that you're trying to achieve. So XLReporter for IoT data is specific to actually currently two different hardware vendors. We've just heard news of a new venture with ProSoft Technologies and their data logger, and I have some web pages to share on links of that will have a similar functionality to the Ewon Flexy 205 or the Ewon Flexy family from HMS. So this is a secure remote access device that is modular. On the front there, you can see it's showing two serial ports and a wireless radio antenna. And then below, you'll see there's 4 ports of Ethernet RJ45 connections for networking in your automation network and a enterprise network for an internet connection. Those can be switched out for different modules depending on your needs for your application. So reporting on information that is IoT data from your Flexi has two options. One is local, so you would connect to the Flexi with the eCatcher software, establish a VPN connection, and then you can configure the Flexi as an OPC UA server. That would then in turn provide you real-time information available to do reports as you go against the Flexi tags that have potentially been programmed to reflect data that's in your control system. So if you think about different controllers that may not necessarily have the same protocols, if they're communicating to the Flexi and there are native connections to those, we can import the tag values as needed and then report on those tags. So that could be then stored to a database. XLReporter handles that for you. In other words, it will grab the data from the data mailbox, as we'll see in a few slides, and then also be able to store that in a database, a relational database, whether that's Access or Microsoft SQL Server, etc. So it has the ability to not only be a local real-time data storage, reporting tool, but also a data store for looking at historical information. And then having the ability to connect to the Flexi via the cloud data mailbox gives you the remote capabilities to store and report on information. And that has implications that could go beyond um, connecting to, a relational database management system that may be in-house. It could also be, as we'll see in some slides later, a cloud solution that may be hosting a relational database for, again, historical information. They also have connectors for the FactoryTalk alarm and events system so that you can do alarm reporting, as well as other hardware vendors and their alarming solutions. So in terms of local applications, what we would see typically is the Flexy Ewon establishing an OPC UA server that can be done within the unit itself, and then XLReporter would then report on the events and tags as they became available. So it acts essentially as an OPC UA client. And then you have the ability with the XLReporter scheduling engine to publish and report on data as it is required, whether it's an end of shift report or maybe it's end of day and so forth. So again, these are timed events, day, time, month, that kind of thing that can be triggered in order to establish a automated report for engineers and operations to consume without having to go in and manipulate the data on their own. And then lastly, having the ability to do reports on demand with either mobile or a web client. And then in terms of remote application, think, if you will, having equipment or assets across the country, and you want to collect that information to a single location and then report on that. So the intention here would be to use Flexis at each location that would all then aggregate up to the Talk2M cloud platform. And then using the data mailbox, we would be able to fetch and then store and redistribute those reports. And as I had indicated, another method would be to store and forward that information to a cloud service. So again, getting that historical data sent to an Amazon Web Service, for example, for persistent storage of that information and access to that data from any and all locations that would have secure access to that instance. So they also have the ability to establish dashboards, and there is a demo of that we will be showing. You can see here that is the www.xlreporter.net. The URL is shown on the screen here. And again, it's there for you to check out as well. It is pretty interesting in terms of being an HTML5 implementation of the reports. They get published to an IIS server that you would have in-house, and then would have the ability to serve those up to your consumers. Again, another sample of the mobile view versus the desktop view. So if you look in terms of navigation, you have a little more complex navigation on the desktop versus the mobile. But again, having the ability to look at dashboards on your mobile devices is something that a lot of customers are looking for as a starting step for an IIoT strategy. So getting started in the Ewon, what we have is the Flexy. This is showing the connection, if you will, to the Ewon that was set up at Sytech. And as we click through the slides, you'll see that it's showing us that you can use the wizards if you do need to utilize any cloud storage platforms. And then there's also I/O servers to allow you to communicate to specific controllers, whether that be Siemens, Rockwell Automation, Allen Bradley, or any other that may have OPC DA or UA as well. And then there's also the ability to establish an alarm database, if you will, in the Flexy to allow you to look at some very important limited alarm conditions that you may want to report on in an immediate way. And then they also have their own internal tags to allow you to look at things like OEE and those key performance indicators. And then you can configure how often through a schedule you're going to synchronize the information in the Flexy to your persistent storage. So some case studies that would be of value, right, for this kind of thing is looking at machine cycle reports. So the requirement in this case would be they don't have cloud storage. They are looking to get clean in place reports for each cycle, and they want names for those based on the date and cycle ID, and then also showing KPIs and trends, right? So what we're seeing here is a report that gives them the ability to connect directly to the Flexy, look at real-time information, and then watch the clean in place cycle as it is happening in terms of a report. And typically what you would see here is, a end of cycle that would then give you a summary. So another example would be, maybe a customer has, as we were saying before, multiple facilities across a large geographic area, and they're looking for some simple production reports. So they want to look at capturing data from multiple sites and want to produce a corporate standard report for production and then equipment effectiveness or efficiency. And again, the solution would be to look at the Flexy at each site, send information to a cloud storage for persistence, and then configure XLReporter to consolidate that information into maybe an on-prem SQL server, or again, that could be a SQL server or some other um, relational database management system, again, either cloud or on-prem. And then they would have the ability to utilize the web portal in order to access that information and reports. Another interesting case study would be to look at a maintenance report on equipment that may have, been commissioned for some time and has some behaviors that may need to be tracked, or you're hoping to do maybe some proactive analysis of downtime events and that kind of thing. So having the ability to provide reports to each customer. So if you think of an OEM who's providing this equipment and then sending it out to a customer in the field, and then having that be able to send reports to the customer based on it having some uh, operational concerns around how the machine is functioning. So what we're seeing here is a process report that indicates to us some information about a manufacturing um, environment that also is sending out that as a PDF via email to the team that needs to consume that information. So XLReporter allows us to develop a master report template and then maintain a list of customers and report and email one to each customer. So they would receive a PDF that would be representative of the report that's shown here. So what I'm going to do now is kind of show you how some of these things connect and what the product itself looks like. So bear with me here while I switch over to my virtual machine. This is the XLReporter Project Explorer. What I have loaded is the project that comes with the product as a demo. So just to give you an idea of what some of these reports may look like, we'll take a look here in the on-demand reports. And then take a look at just the alarms with KPI data. So here we see that there's some historical data that's been pre-configured. The product comes available as a demo for download and has historical data built into the product for you to do some reports and manipulation, as well as having the ability to connect to OPC, UA, and DA servers as we had indicated before. So again, it's batch reports, dashboards, as well as reports. So if you're looking for something that has more information about more processes and different process variables, then you would be able to do that as long as the information was available to the user on the system, the control system that they're working on. Another thing that's available too is indicated before is the regulatory report. So if there are reports that are required by the EPA, they may be available and can be introduced into the product and then would have live data available to it. And as you can see in that workbook form, there are multiple reports available to us. and then we can schedule the delivery of these via email or to a PDF or to a web page as well. So in terms of the Flexy, we are communicating to a relational database here. And again, the XLReporter handles that when we set up the connection for our Flexy. So if we look at the connectors for this project, it will show us different, sorry, that's a report. Here we go. So we have the Ewon box here. If you see here, these are all the different data sources that are available. So in terms of rock automation, we can report on all of these sources, and there are different methods depending on what type of file it is. So in some cases, you'll see there's the FactorTalk View ME historical values. They have the ability to take the DAT files from View, ME, and SE, and then in some cases stitch them. So you may have different files for each day, and maybe you want to see a report that has those days inclusive. You would have the ability to stitch those again through a wizard that is built into the XLReporter product. So in terms of what we're talking about here today, we have the ability to look at real-time values, and then also the data mailbox. So the data mailbox is here. I'll go in and show how that's set up, but this is basically going to be a connection to a OPC server that's in the Flexy running in a demo room. That's what we always want to see. All right, well, let's just go back. Sorry about that. Let's just go back to the mailbox here, and I'll modify that just so you can kind of see how that works. So basically what you do is you go in and you register the Ewon, okay? So we already have our Ewon registered, but it does show up okay. And then I'm going to cancel that. And then the next step would be to, look at the storage. So in this case, what we've done is elected to connect to a SQL Server Express instance running on this machine. So then once I have that established, and by the way, it allows you to create those tables when you make the connection, then we would go in to sync the mailbox. So then it's going to go out and connect to the mailbox. I can do this because I don't have the schedule running currently, but so the scheduler is responsible for, running your project in terms of, when an event occurs and then a report is required, you may be triggering a report based off an event or off of a time. And the scheduler, if it's running, does not allow you to do the sync because you could sync by way of a schedule, right? So what I've done is just done a manual to grab data. As you can see, it's indicating that we have captured several records, and these are, looks like pretty fresh, so from today. And then once we have synced the mailbox, then we can look at the storage just to see, what's in there, right? So are we getting data? Does it seem valid? And it seems as though we are in pretty good shape here, right? We're looking at data that seems pertinent and it is around the time that we're in right now. So go ahead and say okay to that. And then what we'll find is we have the ability to report on that data. We have a couple examples here that I can show you that are simple. Oops, this again is not, there we go. Get that out of there. Here we go. Okay. So this is an OEE dashboard that again is looking at the information in that Flexy and then reporting it to a simple dashboard. I'm sorry, a simple report that is from the library, the template library. And then this is the actual data that is in the Ewon so that you can see, hopefully, there you go, some values that are changing, just to show you that we are in fact getting the information from it in a live data, if you will. And then lastly here, we're just showing a simple report that's, a tabular type report that is similar data, right? This is again good parts, bad parts. So showing our scrap rate, and a lot of these things are calculated, so you're not necessarily on the hook to introduce all of the tags. It has the ability to utilize formulas in the background, so kind of pre-staging the data for your report. Or you could look at raw data as well, right? So it's very flexible in terms of the information that you're going to be able to report on. And so with that, I guess just showing a little bit in terms of other hardware that is available. There is going to be an event coming up from Ewon. Sorry about all the clicking around. That is probably going to go more in depth than today's discussion. So they do have a live demo on the ewon.biz website if you're interested in looking at that. And again, that is going to show some information about collecting information from your control systems and automation assets that may not be local to you. Another option is the ProSoft Data Logger. This has similar functionality to the Ewon in terms of XLReporter has hooks into that hardware and a strategic relationship with XLReporter to provide similar functionality to what we're seeing here with the Flexy if you happen to have the ProSoft Data Logger. And then the last thing worth showing would be in terms of the dashboard that was mentioned earlier. So this is the website that allows you to see the sample dashboarding and report generation through their web portal. So again, just looking at I don't know if this is going to be decent data or not. Yeah, looks great. Yep, so here we're looking at 3 weeks ago, and again, this is probably simulated information, but again, having the ability to share this with folks across a company and looking at all the different types of reports that they have templates for and or are available to create and share is pretty extensive. So with that, hopefully if you have any other questions or are interested in looking at these types of products and have projects where you are trying to wrangle data and get information to individuals that are part of a team, please let us know how we can help you. We are more than willing to talk with you about networks, software, controllers, IO, safety systems. We have a vast team of engineers that are available to help you create successful projects in terms of IIoT and the digital transformation journey that your company is likely to take on here in the next few years, if not already. So with that, I don't know, Rachel, if we're at a point where we may have some questions that need to be answered.
Yes, we had a couple questions earlier, and Michael did address those, but I'll go ahead and read them out now. And if anyone does have follow-up questions or if something occurs to you, please do drop it in the comment section here, and I'll read it out, and Steve can answer them live. So we did have two questions from Utsav, who's joining us today from India. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, thanks.
And the first question was, is there auto email reports configuration on intervals in XLReporter? And Michael did answer, yes, you can create a schedule in XLReporter to publish reports and email those reports to specified users. Did you want to add anything to that?
I think that's the perfect answer.
Perfect. And Utsav actually just dropped another question here in the comments. I'll skip ahead and read that one now. He asks, XL reports templates or demo or reports samples, are they available on XL report website?
Yes, so they are the demo project. It ships with the or I should say downloads with the core software. So if you go to the Excel Reporter website at the reportcompany.com, they have a download link, and I think I have a slide that shows that actually.
Yeah, that'd be great.
There you go. Oop. There we are. So yeah, if you go to sytech.com, there's a download Excel Reporter link, and I'm actually using the demo package. So the only thing that you're required to do is to register the product, and then after 2 hours, that registration will end, and then you just simply click an extend trial button, and then it'll run for another 2 hours. And then so the default project is the XLR demo project.
Wonderful. Utsav had also asked us earlier if he could send commands to his PLC via GSM message to start or stop something from Ewon Flexy. Michael had responded that the Ewon Flexy has a mobile app, M2 Web Mobile, where you can read and write PLC tag values. I wasn't sure if you wanted to add anything to that.
Yeah, no, that's accurate, and I guess I would say that there is also a small HMI package that's available called Vuon that may also give you some of the ability to, again, the network type doesn't matter so much. It's really just the relationship between the tags and the automation asset within the Flexi itself. So how you get to the Flexi doesn't really have an effect on that, how that uh, that tag write function happens.
And was that Vuon, VIEW?
Yep, and so that is an HMS product that it is basically built into the Flexi.
Perfect. Okay, great. Terry Rebeck has a question for us. Can the
Hey, Terry.
Ewon Flexi 205 log PLC data into an Oracle database? And if so, how quickly can the data be pulled out of the PLC? A 1 second's rate or faster?
Okay, so I will actually show that here just to. Okay, so basically in the IO servers, these, I don't, are you seeing that okay, right? You see there's the E1, but then you also have, for example, the Allen Bradley logics, right? So I can communicate directly to a controller and then have access to tags from there. This is indicating it looks like the poll rate is 2.5 seconds. The default is 2 seconds, but I think you can probably go down to maybe a second, but you have to be careful, right? We would have to talk about what the actual outcome is the customer's trying to achieve. Now, on the other side, right? So if I'm getting the information into the Flexi, then I also have the ability through the XLReporter software to commit that information to a database. So one of the things that you can do is to create a path from the live data to a relational database. So whether that's Oracle or Microsoft SQL Server doesn't matter. So in other words, it would be able to communicate to either or. Yep.
Great.
So hopefully, Terry, that answers your question. If not, you can give me a call.
And for anyone that's watching this, if you have other questions that come to you even after we've ended the live stream, or if you're watching this as a recording, you can always reach out to us at the Mac and Mac Live email address. That's macandmaclive@mc-mc.com. And we're happy to answer your questions there, and we will forward your questions along to Steve. Just let us know the title of this session so we can do that. All right, it doesn't look like we have any further questions. Terry said thank you, so I believe you did answer his question. And thank you again to everyone who's joining us today from all across the globe. We love seeing you here, and we hope to see you live again soon on the channel. Thank you, everyone, and be sure to subscribe to the McNaughton-McKay YouTube channel for more industry content just like this. Thank you all. Have a great day.